about right here?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I can sit down.
Okay. Okay, then we go into the capture here, and this side comes back. Here. Oh, that's capture.
I keep hearing about Stockton. Now, let's imagine I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
What makes Stockton so special as it relates to Filipino martial arts?
Okay. Well, Stockton, in the early 1900s, many Filipinos were recruited to work in the farm and some Hawaii and the San Joaquin Valley and other farming areas here in over there in California. And so anyway, so in Hawaii they work in the sugar cane and pineapple, and in here in California they work in asparagus, tomatoes, and so a lot of them at that time were recruited from the remote areas of the Philippines, and many of them were limited in their education, and then even if they had higher education, the choices were limited here. So they would only hire Filipinos for hard labor or menial labor jobs, and so anyway, so many people settled in Stockton because of the farming community. So you got all these warriors, man, that are here, and because all of them, in some form or another, they knew some kind of martial arts. Naturally, they brought their martial arts, they kept it, and then next thing you know, in the early '60s, some of them started teaching. Angel Caballas was already teaching in 1962. And then other accounts said he started in '65, and then officially opened a school in 1966, and then at that time he welcomed the other escrimadores at his club, and it was the first time that the Filipino martial arts was taught outside the Filipino community. Once he finished his class, then he would invite his Filipino friends to come and teach. Leo Hiron, Gilbertino, John Lacosta, so all of these guys were all there together, and they started sharing their martial arts. And one of our local martial artists started researching his Filipino heritage, Filipino martial arts. At that time, he was with Ed Parker at that time, and Ed Parker told him, "Hey, you should research some of your Filipino martial arts," and because I know he was doing JKD already with Bruce Lee, and that's Guru Dan Inosanto. So he came to Stockton and started doing his research and started studying there, and then he wrote a book back then on Filipino martial arts, and many of the Stockton escrimadores at that time that were openly teaching was added to that book, and so that's really how that's how Stockton got famous for his Filipino martial arts.
Let's recap some of these big names.
Yes.
Angel Caballas, Dan Inosanto. Continue it for me.
We have Angel Caballas, these were the manongs, the instructors. Angel Caballas, Leo Hiron, Gilbertino, and John Lacosta. They were the ones that were well known.
According to your recollection or perhaps experience, did these guys get along with one another?
At that time, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And they must have shared. They must have influenced each other.
I would agree with that. I think part of it had to do with how successful they were in exposing the Filipino martial arts.
Right.
And next thing you know, there were many people coming in from out of town wanting to learn it.
Right.
And then egos got in the way. Like people think this guy's better, that guy's better, and
So it almost sounds like they were a victim of their own success.
I maybe that's not far fetched at all.
Right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like they did something amazing,
Yeah.
and it evolved into something that, I mean,
that separated them.
right? I mean, there's no doubt there's politics in Filipino martial arts. There's no
Yeah.
doubt that there's infighting, and
Yeah.
there- you know, even brothers
Yeah.
split apart for, you know, disagreements. What's the future of Filipino martial arts? Will this bickering and fighting and politics continue and continue?
Well, you know what? You know, there's always going to be that. You know, the bickering and the fighting.
Right.
It's hard to get away from that. You know, and so it's not just limited to Filipino martial arts.
It's not.
You know, and but you know what, man? I'm hopeful about it. I'm just an optimist, okay? I'm hopeful that some of us, the next generation of Escrimanos out of Stockton, we're making an effort to unite. You know,
take it back to the way it used to
yeah,
be, where
yeah,
these
and so
guys-
and so we're, what I'm saying is this: like for me, I can speak only for myself. I'm willing to work with anyone that will work with me, and I'm willing to put any differences aside in order for the betterment of the art, because it's not about us, man. You know, it's about the culture, it's about the Philippine martial arts, it's about the future, and the more we can get together and be united, man, we can just be as big as anyone.
Filipinos are naturally stubborn.
Yeah, that's true.
We're naturally prideful. How do we get over all the scars and the past pain?
You know what, man? I just think it's just one person at a time, man. You know, I think that for all of us instructors that are serious about the future of the Filipino martial arts, you know, we need to be the leaders. So we need to teach our students that culture. You know, you know, it might not happen in my lifetime, but then I can pass that on to the culture of my students, that maybe one day they can make that happen.
Do you think that Filipinos can learn something from other arts? Like
Absolutely.
Is there a way that wrestling can be integrated? You know, the wrestling philosophy, the discipline, the hard work, or perhaps some taekwondo drills. Do you think there's room for the Filipino martial arts to begin embracing other arts and integrating maybe some training methodologies?
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? It's not strange to Filipinos because that's what they've done.
That's what
Okay, yeah.
FMA is meant to adapt and evolve.
Absolutely, because the Philippines, we had different Europeans there at
Right.
one time or another, you know, and then we had the Chinese and the Japanese, you know, and Filipinos are good. Like, oh, hey, that worked real nice there. That good.
Yeah.
I borrowed that one. Okay,
Ingenuity and adaptability is also a part of who we are.
Yeah, sure. You know, so if you look at the traditional art, you know, when it came from when it was its silat roots, you know, and to where it is now, it's different, man.
Right.
You know, and where you look at other parts of Malaysia, Indonesia, Borneo, where they still more have of that traditional silat and kuntao. You know, and the Filipino martial arts, man, it looks different.
Right.
You know, and some are more silatish, and others are more open. You know, and so yeah, man, we believe in expressing what we can learn.
Right. I
Yeah.
think, and it's funny because it seems innovative and new now to bring it back to the way it used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's it's a strange and wonderful thing here, but what can you do? What can you do to ensure that we take it back to the old school?
Well-
that we bring it back to the spirit of sharing,
Yeah.
collaboration, and innovation.
Like I said, man, the instructors have to first be the leaders of that. They have to be the example, because everyone else will follow. You know, and you know, it's yeah, man. You know, if I want respect, I'll show respect first. You see, and
You're gonna take the first step.
yeah, I'll take the first step.
Wow.
And I think many of us are willing to do that. You know,
I think so.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot more positive things than the negative that we can do as one unit, man.
Sir, what can I say? Thank you very much for sharing all that knowledge. Thank you for sharing a bit of your history. And thank you for helping guide the future of Filipino martial arts. And
Oh,
I think the future is bright as well.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you, sir.
Thank you.